It's horrible to think that I have such a shit life and everyone else seems to be getting helped by other people and I'm not getting helped by anyone. You know, I was just making a video and my mum called me twice during that video, and I just called her now just to find out what she was wanting to say. And she said, "Oh, I can't talk now, I'm on a train." So why did you just call me twice if you're on a train? You've just interrupted my video to do nothing. And then she also called on a video chat. Why is she using video chat when she's on a train? She doesn't know how to use her phone. She's a fucking idiot. I've got a mum who is a fucking idiot, who doesn't know how to use her phone. The majority of the time she calls my house phone, like I tell her not to call my house phone because it means I have to get out of bed and go downstairs into a cold hallway, especially in the winter time. It's very horrible. You know, the number of times I've told her not to call my house phone unless my main phone isn't picking up, and she still does it. And when I tell her, "Why did you do it?" she's just like, "Oh, I thought I was calling your mobile. Look, I've got it says two phone numbers on my phone and I can't work out which one's which." You can't work out which number is my mobile and which one is my house phone? How could you be that stupid? And then now she seems to be getting in the trend of always calling me on a video call, even if she has, you know, not that much data to spend. You know, she shouldn't be. You should only use video if you've got like proper internet connection. You should, and she just doesn't understand how to use her phone. How can someone be so stupid? And so I'm God, and I've got the most stupidest mum ever who can't help me with anything because she can't even help herself. And then I want to do what other people are doing, where I get a video and have it played, and then I can just talk along, because doing it on that the other way that I'm making videos just isn't really working. I have to talk into the microphone and then copy the voice from Audacity onto the video maker that I'm making, and when I press render, it takes about 2 hours for me to render a video, and often I end up finishing it at 12 in the morning, 12 at night, or in the middle of the night. And then because my computer keeps shutting down every 10 minutes, if you don't play with it for 10 minutes, you know, it keeps blanking out. And I know that there is a way of making it so that it doesn't switch off after an hour, but I can't seem to figure out how you do that. So I've got all these technical problems. I'm trying to just figure out everything out myself, but I've got too many things to remember that even if I have figured something out, how to do something, I can't remember. And I feel like I'm getting helped by absolutely no one. I don't even know who's watching these videos. I don't know which of the singers know about me, which of the singers don't know about me. Maybe these singers are acting out in certain characters because most of them or some of them hate me. I can't even tell you which ones are on my side and which ones aren't. And then I've got just no one helping me. But yeah, okay, just do this in this way, because I can't be bothered to spend an hour or spend 2 hours. If these videos take a long time, when you're copying and pasting all of them and getting rid of all the ums, I keep saying in front of a video and stuff, but yeah.
When you're in that state of timelessness, do you realise how everything is connected to everything else?
Really?
There are patterns everywhere, within patterns, within patterns, within patterns.
Patterns within patterns? What the fuck are you talking about?
From that higher state of consciousness, all you see is the perfection of the pattern. But then it doesn't just bleed into space, it also bleeds into time.
It bleeds
right?
in... What?
And that's kind of a hard one for the human brain. Because when time starts to break down and you start to see fractal patterns in time...
Fractal patterns in time?
You get to see, wow, there are cycles where things happen for reasons that we don't understand until later, but they're connected to something that happened before, which is connected to something that's going to happen later, and there's perfect timing to everything. And if you know how to read that pattern, you're getting a glimpse into what's behind the matrix, the working, the underpinning of consciousness, of reality.
Okay, let's just take that for example. Okay, I needed you to see how my expressions are when making these videos. You know, I could just watch this video and just think, what the fuck, and then just try and express it with my voice, but I feel like you need to actually see my face for me to actually, I mean, this guy is obviously a lunatic, but he sounds so convincing. All you need to do is look at the patterns that lie in the universe and the timeline, and then you can get consciousness through the patterns. And if you can work out the patterns, then you can like figure out the patterns, and then you can work out what the reality is, and then that all made fucking sense, because it makes so much nonsense. Oh, I can't, okay. These people are fucking driving me mad. I mean, he looks like a scientist. He looks like someone you should take seriously, and yet he's just talking shit, and it's really winding me up, because how can people like this get a platform, and yet people who have the actual truth can't? And I mean, to me, he just said a bunch of nonsense. Okay, it makes a little bit of sense. I'm looking at videos and I'm seeing, does this relate to my daily life? And I think, well, no. And then I look to another one, it's like, well, that kind of does. And then I think, well, okay, so this guy, let's say for the example, the angel of the hatred, you know, he said that he's in my mind. He's in my mind all the time. And I'm thinking, okay, if he brackets he is in my mind all the time, what is in my mind at right this moment? And I'm feeling hatred. I'm feeling hatred from just listening to this film yesterday, and from that girl as well that was just talking nonsense. But I couldn't really express how much hatred I was feeling, because she wasn't really saying anything that wrong. It was she was channeling voices from another realm, voices that she was hearing, and then afterwards she made out that she had no idea what she just said, and it was constant. It was lying. She was lying about that, and okay, it wasn't really that bad. She was trying to pretend that she was hearing voices that were helping humanity, when really she was just trying to help humanity, and she somehow thought that by lying to people about hearing voices, she can try and pretend that she is, you know, helping the collective, and I don't know, it's just, these people, they talk like it's intelligence. They think like this makes sense, and it doesn't. Okay, it makes a little bit of sense to me, because I'm feeling patterns in the singers and the songs and the songwriting, the songs that they are releasing, thinking, what's in my head? And okay, this one thinks that, you know, I need him, or I don't want him, but I'm here to stay. What do I want here to stay? Well, hatred. I have a huge amount of hatred, and I want to die so that people will know that they can never fix this problem that I'm feeling, and therefore I'm seeing patterns, because I'm seeing, you know, real things that I've actually looked. I'm looking at songs, and I'm seeing patterns within the songs. Now that makes sense. I've actually explained something, because I've taken something that is real, singers that have made, like, say they made 8 songs, and I've just listened to all 8 songs, and I'm seeing the patterns in what is repetitive, what is continuous, what is, how is what they're saying relating to what I'm feeling at that moment in time, and it makes sense, and I can explain what I'm talking about when it's set. If I'm saying that I'm finding these singers through finding patterns, I can explain it like that and show it. But this guy, I mean, he said all this. I mean, okay, that's just the intro, but the whole thing is just, he doesn't give any examples of what these patterns are. He doesn't give any examples of how these patterns blend into the universe. And if you can just work out what the patterns are, then you can understand the universe. And you would listen to that and you think, oh, so he understands the universe. Oh, because he's figured out the patterns. Oh, isn't he smart? Isn't he intelligent? And you're just thinking, what the fuck is he talking about? And it's annoying me, because so many idiots would watch this and they would just see someone who's intelligent and saying lots of things that are perhaps the truth. Maybe they won't. Maybe there's some people that just be like, yeah, this guy's crazy, I'm not going to watch this. But yeah, it's annoying me, because he's coming off as being intelligent when really I think it's just madness. A lot of things that he's saying is madness, because he's not explaining it. You know, you could say, oh, at the beginning of the world there was the a tribe of people who came to Earth and found it, but they failed. I was one of them, and then they died and they moved on, and then the world was taken over by another group of people, and these people actually had special technology that could create humans, and so they created the human species, and now they're just living in space and they're just watching over the human species. You know, you can say things like that, but if you're not going to back it up with any evidence other than, oh, the voice in my head told me, oh, my guides told me, you know, if you're going to just do that, then it's just, it's annoying me how people think that they can get away with just saying this shit, and having, it's annoying me how I think people might be listening to this and believing it, and what they're doing is no different from the people who made the Bible, you know. There's a voice in my head which is the Holy Spirit, and it's giving me the word of God. And so all the words that I'm writing on this book is not the words of mine. They're the words that God is speaking through me. And then everyone starts believing that the Bible is the word of God, even though there's no evidence whatsoever. And then this whole movement about the Bible being God has just been formed. And you can't tell any of these people that, because they just don't believe it, and they don't want to believe it, and they don't. And then this whole thing's just stressing me out, because the whole thing is just happening all over again with this stupid awake movement or awakened movement. We are the enlightened ones. We know everything because the guides in our head are telling us. Well, isn't that exactly how Christianity was formed? The people saying that God was telling them stuff. And I'm really in a very stressed out mood today. I want to just go through this video, but I need to do it in the same way that those people where they play it on the corner.
I'd like to welcome to the show Richard Brett. How you doing, Richard?
Hey, good, Alex. Nice to be here.
Let's just skip because it's very, very boring.
Streaming through me into, and it didn't stop. It just went on forever.
Wow. Streaming through you.
The other thing I experienced
Wow.
was zero resistance anywhere in my body.
Zero
So
resistance.
No fear, no doubt.
No fear, no
All of
doubt.
that normal human background.
So yes, I just felt streaming through me. This is how I have all the information, because just things streaming through me. I mean, where's the evidence that happens? I mean, technically anyone can lie in bed and just imagine things streaming through them, and it's just how many people would listen to this and actually think, yeah, wow, you did, you had things streaming through you, and you became. He basically talks about how he felt like he became a light bulb. Okay, he's feeling the same things that I'm feeling. So he's obviously had some sort of echo or mental illness. I think it is. He's had some sort of mental illness where he's experienced some things that I experienced. But when I feel like a light bulb, I feel like I can go online and suddenly everything starts linking to things that I've felt or experienced, and okay, right now I've created the angel of hatred, so I'm probably feeling a lot more hatred, or I'm feeling a lot more angry than I usually do. Is this me feeling it and him picking up on the energy that I'm feeling, or is it the other way around? Am I feeling the energy because I've just listened to those songs and it's put me in a bad mood? But I don't know. It could be both. But I have things streaming through me because I'm actually streaming through YouTube, and I'm actually watching things, and I'm actually seeing things. But he thinks that streaming through him just means lying and just having things. It's almost like, there is patterns, but I feel like the patterns are actually designed for me alone. I'm Christ, and I'm creating some sort of timeline, and I feel like I don't want to talk to that video, that film, the new X-Men film about Anchorman and Wolverine and Ant-Man, was it, or something? There was a film that I watched last week, and they were all about these multi-universes. No, Deadpool, that was it. Deadpool and the one, and they were talking about jumping in through all these different timelines and bringing different Deadpools all back and fighting, and it's just, the whole thing just doesn't make any sense, and it's completely ludicrous and impossible and not real. But a lot of people like him has watched it, although this was actually done before that. This is a month old, so this was done before the Deadpool film, but he's obviously been watching a lot of X-Men with the time space continuous. I don't even know, time space continue, what the fuck does that mean? It's just random words putting together. Time jumping and multiverse, that's the word. So he's watched a bunch of X-Men films about multiverse, and now he believes that that's the truth, and that there's all these things that link to patterns, and it's just, that's so fucking complicated. I can't understand that. I know I'm claiming to be God, and I don't understand the internet. I can't understand the internet. I don't understand it, but I know when it comes to a timeline, there is one timeline and one pattern that links to me so that I can figure things out. I can't understand how these patterns would link to him in such like this random guy that I've never heard of, never seen, and him saying that there's patterns that he reads, and if he can understand these patterns, I mean, if he knows about me, then maybe he can see the patterns. He can see the things that link to me. Okay, I'm repeating myself over and over again, and I feel like I'm going crazy because I'm just repeating myself over and over again. I'm listening to all the songs. They always seem to talk about a fake sacrifice, or one that would in the song seems real, but I think I'm pretty sure it's fake. And then it's just repetitive, and you can see the patterns. If you knew that Christ was female and blonde, you could see the patterns as to what this type of person is going to be like. If you thought Christ was male and Jesus, well, most of there's very little things that connect to him. Absolutely very little. I mean, Jesus, the average person, there's a lot of things that connect to an average person, but not so much as a Christ figure. But yeah. Christ is usually seen on a cross dying, so that's shows what his ending is. But yeah, I just
Ease was just gone, evaporated, and so I was in a state of complete freedom, I guess. I didn't. It felt very natural, but I didn't really kind of question it at the time. I guess it was just okay. This is. And my mind was also kind of there on
Right.
different levels, but the very human mind was sort of there inquiring and going, "Well, this is interesting. What,
Well, you were-
I can find stuff out."
So did you start asking questions? Did you have a guide, or did anyone like show up and just go, "Hey, Richard, this is the time. Come with me"? Nothing like that.
No, there was no guides because there was no sort of that wasn't that sense of separation between me and another being. Although I did have visionary states within
Okay.
the other state.
Sure.
You know, and so I kind of, because I was curious with my mind to know things, I trained my mind. When I say I trained it, I kind of sent it into different directions, asking things. It wasn't like consciously asking questions. It was like, I wonder what death is like, you know, things like that. And then I would just explore the memory of dying and the kind of understanding of the process of dying, and it just all was there.
Sell online and grow your business with
Okay.
Wix e-commerce. Create a
And lots of things I asked. You know, I was kind of nosy.
As you should be, sir. As you should
Yeah,
be.
I was like, well, what about me? You know, who's this? What's this thing? And what's my and I was like, can I see the future? It's like, and yeah, it was quite a thing.
So you know? There's a bunch of questions I want to ask you. One is, how since that time, you were what, in your late 20s when that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we obviously the smartest point in your entire life, the most evolved point of your entire life. You've only been downhill from there, obviously, because that happens to all 20-year-olds. Or at least that's what all 20-year-olds think at the time.
I was full of angst, is the reality.
That's the word, exactly.
okay. I'm it's getting a little boring, but I'm just saying what the conversation is like, and it's just people like things like this. You know, they like to take tiny memories of things. I don't know how old he is. He must be in his 50s, 60s now. No, he's not 70. 50s, 60s, and he's talking about a memory of something that happened when he was 20, and he's going into great detail about it, about how he's, you know, he had this experience where he felt like a light bulb. Okay, I didn't actually play that part, but you. And then just people would give him like gratification and make him feel like he's, you know, or like he's I don't know. Does anyone believe any of this? Maybe no one even believes this. Maybe just people. Let's see what the comments say. I love the part where he says it's not education, it's wisdom that needs to be awakened inside. Wow, blew me away on how true that is. It's not education, it's wisdom that needs to awake you. Well, isn't education wisdom? I mean, education is where you learn things, and it's things that are more factual, because, well, sometimes education can be wrong, but usually education is based on looking at things that are fact. So to wake up based on wisdom without education, everything can be kind of considered education. So to think that wisdom comes without education, or wisdom can be found without education, that's not really. That's the two things are the same thing, right? Even working can be considered to be a type of education. So I don't know. Just people I don't think they understand things, and anyway, let's just see what other. I want a short one. This is not knowledge, but knowingness. Oh, that's kind of a short one. I can see how it. Richard is such a gift to humanity. That's another comment. I'm reading only the short ones. Curiosity leads to knowledge, experience and opening doors to wisdom. Yeah, or testing people and finding, I don't know, most of his experience is about an experience that he had like 50 years ago, when he was younger, or maybe 30 if he's 50. And I don't see how anything that he really says is... This video is too long. This video is too long.
So in half-heartedness is the gift of commitment. So it teaches you about commitment. And then the city is devotion. So those are the three levels. So devotion is when you've gone through the journey of commitment, and you've come out the other side into this place where your heart is fully opened. And it's suddenly, the whole notion of doing anything in a committed way that's all you know. So half-heartedness is a thing of the past. So that's an example of how someone might apply a gene key to aspects of their life. And it's a contemplative journey, so it's not a kind of therapy, but it's therapeutic. Mm-hmm. And you learn it yourself. So these are journeys, I've created
if I was to just repeat what he said, I can't tell you anything. It's like I can't remember it. It just doesn't make any sense. Something about... No, I can't remember. I can't listen to him and remember things that he said, because I feel like whatever he's saying, might be true. Something about commitment, and you learn to feel full-heartedness through commitment or something. But I don't know. It's like he's teaching something, but I can't work out what he's teaching, because I don't think he's actually teaching anything. And people are looking at him and seeing him as being wisdom and truth, and I just don't think anything. I think he's mad.